Hello, everybody. This is lesson 6 of Unit 2. And if you remember last time, I asked you to write a description of two given pie charts. This time we will discuss a model answer, how to write about these pie charts. Now, this was the question of last time. We have these two pie charts, and when we first discussed how to write a description of a chart or a graph in general, we said that we have to look at certain elements. Now, the certain elements we talked about include the title, the years, if there are years, here in pie charts, if there are percentages, and then we have a key. Now, if you look at the instructions on top, these form, the instructions here form the title. So the title is what? The sources of energy in the USA in 1980 and 1990. If you look at the charts now, we have the years 1980 and 1990. And within the charts, we have percentages. And again, we discussed this before. We said that usually pie charts are used to represent percentages. And you can see the proportions or the segments that we talked about are represented in different colors. And at the bottom, we have the key, which represents the sources of energy, starting with oil, natural gas, coal, hydroelectric power, and nuclear power. Now let's look at the model answer. You remember earlier we said that in the introduction, we should include all the elements mentioned in a graph and then introduce a general idea. Let's see here if we have these two major elements here. Now, the two pie charts show, again, this is the beginning of describing any graph. We said that we need to name the graph. Here we have pie chart, and because we have two pie charts, we say two pie charts. Okay, the two pie charts show, this is the verb, show, the main sources of energy in the USA in 1980 and 1990, and this is taken from the title. So this is the first thing, the first element. The title is included. The main sources of energy in the USA in those years were oil, natural gas, coal, hydroelectric power, and nuclear power. Again, this is taken from the key, the main sources of energy. Then we have the general idea now. And to start or to introduce a general idea, we said that we can use a phrase like in general. And here we have the phrase, it can be noticed that around a quarter, and because here we are talking about percentages in pie charts, we can use a quarter, which is 25%, around. So it might not be 25% exactly. It could be around 24, 23, or 26, something like that. So here he is giving a general idea about one source of energy, which is natural gas. So quarter of the energy needs in both years came from natural gas. Now let's move to the body. And earlier we said that in the body paragraph we should have at least two ideas. We can put these two ideas with their examples, of course, in one paragraph, or we can put each idea with its example in a separate paragraph. And here we are putting them in separate paragraphs. Let's start with the first idea. The most important thing to note is that, again, now you are familiar with this phrase to start an idea, giving an idea. So the most important thing to note is that oil was the major energy source in the USA in both years. And maybe if you look at the pie charts, you can see that it is clear that oil is the was the main source of power. Now we have to give details. For example, in 1980, 42% of the energy was produced by oil, and in 1990 it decreased to 33%. It is true that it decreased, but again, see the following sentence. However, still it was the major source because this percentage was still the highest. All right. Now, the next idea, we are introducing now a new idea. Another thing to note is that natural gas and coal were the second largest. See, using this phrase, second largest. So first it was oil. The second thing, coal and natural gas. So second largest source of energy. Now we need to give details. For instance, in 1980, the proportion of natural gas was 26 and decreased its share very slightly to provide 25. So it decreased only by 1%. So that's why we say slightly. It decreased its share very slightly to provide 25% of America's energy in 1990, whereas coal had a small increase from 22% in 1980 to 27 in 1990. So here he is talking about these two sources of energy, natural gas and coal. And you can see the elements are there, the phrases, the verbs, the idea, and the example. These are very important things to note. Now let's come to the conclusion. Again, the phrase is used here in brief. The USA did not depend much on nuclear power or water power at that time. See here, he is talking about something in general. He is comparing nuclear power and water power to all sources of energy. So this is a general idea because we said that in the conclusion we have to give a general idea. And if you look at the word count, the number of words, we have 178 words, which is acceptable. We said that you can write from 150 to 170 or 80, or from below 150 and up to 130, 140 is acceptable.